Hello everyone, let me just move myself across so we get ready. Put myself up there, float myself in midair, and now I think we're ready to begin. We should be streaming now on Facebook. I can see myself on Facebook floating across. I can see myself on YouTube, and I can see myself, I hope, on Cram the Exam in a few seconds. So it looks like everything is working. Hello everyone, I hope you saw my video earlier on today where I explained that there will be one or two changes to the way that I originally planned to do this course, in as far as I was going to do a video every single day. Very quickly it became clear that this wasn't possible, and so rather than just cancel the whole thing, I decided to do the FCE the FCE first in the first semester, and to do the CAE exams, course books in the second semester starting from February next year. There is some sense to the madness. First of all, I'll be able to cover all 3 CAE books, whereas in the original plan there was only 2 CAE books, and also because many of your high-level English exams, which you'll be doing around about May or June next year, are at the same level as the CAE exam, around about that C1 level. So by preparing for the CAE exam and doing those exam questions, you'll also be preparing for your English exams, whether it's the Matura, A-level, whatever it might be, in your particular country. So that's a little bit of background behind why I made the change this morning. But today we're going to have a look at the grammar and vocabulary questions for First Expert. So let's get started. And let me just quickly go through the feeds, make sure that everything is working, and it seems to be just fine. If any problems, you have any issues, you can't hear anything, or you need me to explain, just leave a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or on my website, and I will hopefully catch it, and I will get back to you. Okie dokie, so let's begin. So the first exercise, it will be of no surprise to you to find out that it's going to be a recap of the basic grammar that you should know by now. And of course, this is exactly what we did in Ready for First yesterday, and it's exactly what we did in Gold First at the beginning of the week. And we start off with the simple and the continuous forms. So let me get my pen out and we can get straight to work. So I'll just give you the answers for 1A because you're matching these up with the pictures. Number 1 is B, number 2 is C, and number 3 is A. I really need to work out how to do this a bit better. Number 4 is D, number 5 is A, and number 6, is E. Now, knowing the rules of grammar while you're using grammar, as I explained in the last 2 lessons, is key to being able to use grammar properly. So it's not just a question of learning the forms, it's a question of learning when it is you have to use those forms. And what happens is when you are learning English and learning English and learning English, and these simple verb structures, these simple tense forms become straightforward, then you tend to forget what the rules are. And then a number of years down the line, you begin to forget, why are you using the verb forms that you're using? It somehow seems natural, but then when you start making mistakes, as sometimes it happens that way, then it becomes really hard to undo those mistakes. So it's really good to remember why we're using the grammar that we're using. And we use the simple forms to talk about truths, habits, facts, states, and so on. We use the continuous form to talk about to focus on activities, things which are happening over a period of time, generally something that involves some kind of action, some kind of progress, some kind of movement, some kind of development along those lines. And we can see that here. So which one of these is a regular action? It's 6, which is she goes out it's a regular action. She usually goes out in the evening. So we use the simple form to talk about a regular action. We've got this B, which is number 4, And we have to look at this in the last two videos as well. We've got this form where you've got always plus ing. It's a form that we use to describe an annoying or surprising habit. Most of the time it's annoying. A characteristic behavior is going to be a simple form, and we can see that because this is C is a future simple form here. He will sit and doze in an armchair all evening. Doze means fall asleep. A long-term situation, D, is one, and we use that to talk about, we use a simple form to talk about long-term situations, because those long-term situations tend not to change. They tend to be stable. They tend to be constant, which is why we use the simple form. Changing situation, E, is going to be 2. And of course we use a continuous form. His children are growing up fast. And with F, it's a temporary situation, and this is 5. He's staying with the family at the moment. So once again, just a quick recap of the rules. Why are you using the simple? Why are you using the continuous? And as I said in the last two videos, make sure you have a look at the grammar reference in case you have any questions. So the grammar reference here is page 182. It's a basic review of the main rules you have to know, and if you don't know the answer to a grammar question, it will be in the grammar reference. So just bear that in mind. I'm not going to do C because it's all you have to do is you put these sentences into this box here. It's pretty straightforward, and I'm sure you guys won't have any problems with that. Here we go. Will infinitive, we know what that one is. Present simple, present continuous, and always. As I explained through as I was going through here, and present continuous, we got two uses there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm not going to have a look at that. So let's move on to, whoops, not that way. Let's move on and have a look at the next exercise, which is 2A, and this will be the last exercise I do with Facebook and YouTube. Complete the conversations with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Use the present simple, present continuous, or will. So, present forms or future forms. Clearly, we've got to read through the text first to get an idea of context. Context is key, and as I said to someone who's writing that I marked just recently, if you're going to get time contexts confused, so you're going to use language to talk about the future here, and then you're going to give me language to talk about the past here, and you don't explain that change in time, that change in time, then it seems strange. It's just odd. Here's the future, here's the past, what's going on? So you've got to make sure that your tenses agree to the context which you've created, and this is why this is another important thing about using verb forms correctly. And so we've got to read through this to understand the context to make sure that we don't make those same mistakes. So for 1A, what are we asking here? We're asking one possible form, or two possible forms. Only one of them is correct because of the context. We can use present simple. So, do you live in a house or a flat? Or you could also ask, will you live in a house or a flat? But of course, this context does not talk about the future, it talks about now. So, do you live in a house or a flat? B, activity, what's happening now? But we know it can change because the context tells us this. In a flat, we're in a flat for now, but we are, and then we know the verb form, look for a house. So you know that there's a change. So here there's going to be a change. It sounds like a temporary situation. Go back to the rules that we had a look at just a second ago. So this one, it would be we are living in a flat for now, but we, continuous form, it suggests an activity that's happening now. We are looking for a house. Who you get on best with in your family? My father. He tell us endless funny stories. Simple form. The question is going to be in a present simple form. You're looking for a fact, so we use present simple for this. Who do you get on best with in your family? It's also good practice, these questions, to practice auxiliary verbs. In this case, we need to use do as we did for A as well. So who do you get on best with in your family? So learning the auxiliary verbs for each verb form is also important in the future when you're creating questions and you're using more complex grammar forms. So do is the auxiliary verb with the simple form, be is the auxiliary form with the continuous and the passive, have is the auxiliary verb with the perfect forms, and sometimes passive as well. So it's good to always bear that in mind. My father, he tells us endless funny stories. This is a general context. So this is not what's happening now. This is what's happening over a very, very long period of time. At least this is the context I'm applying. So what we need here is just a simple present simple. He tells us. And I'm not sure it's a good idea to try and scribble it in using this pen, but I shall try. There we go. Look at the question here. Anyone annoy you in your family? Once again, it's a question that's looking for a fact now, because the context is clearly now. So does anyone annoy you in your family? Yes, my brother. Here we go. Always. We've got that exception to the rule, always plus ing, which talks about annoying behaviours. Yes, my brother, he is always taking my CDs without asking me. In a second, we'll be talking about habits. This is what all three unit 1s of the FCE books look at as well. How often do you go out is our answer. I usually go out every night. But right, keywords, and looking for keywords is going to help you a lot in the FCE and the CAE as well. At the moment means now. The context is now. Is now. So we need the continuous form. So every night, but I am studying a lot at the moment. So I only go out at weekends until my exams are finished. Or you could use the future form here. So I will only go out at weekends until my exams are finished. I think the context allows for both. You can just call it a statement of fact, use the present simple, so I only go out. Or you can talk about possible future planned events. This is what I'm going to do, so I will only go out at weekends until my exams are finished. Do you like learning English? It can't be are you like learning English? Can't be because like is a stative verb. We'll come to that in a second. And will you like learning English is not correct because the context is present. So do you like learning English? Yes, I do. It was difficult at first, but changing situation. It is getting easier now. So that's a quick run through all of those exercises, or that first page of exercises. I'm going to continue the rest of the exercises, but you'll only be able to see this on my website, cramtheexam.com. If you want to know how to get access to cramtheexam.com, then for 30 days, it only costs 30 zloty, which is around about €7 to €8, and you get access to my live webinars, and you get access to all of the video resources, to all of the course books that I cover on my course, and if you send me your writing, then I will give you feedback to your writing as well. So I'll mark your paper, I'll tell you the good things that you've done, the bad things that you've done, how well you've answered it in terms of it being an exam question. So have you ticked the boxes the examiners are looking for? And so you'll get great feedback which will help you and direct you how to write better answers in the future. So that's all at cramtheexam.com. So pop along there to join me, or if you want to buy a course book, of course, then you can do through my through my online shop at Allegro. But enough about that. I'll just wait a few seconds to make sure that the live feed catches up, so I don't cut myself off mid-sentence. So goodbye Facebook and goodbye YouTube.